Hello, welcome to my channel. The question here says complete the table below, and B part says find the mean of the scores. So we are going to look at how to complete these columns like class boundaries, cumulative frequency, and then the class mark, and then how to compute the mean of this data. Now, looking at the class boundary here, for us to get that, you are going to look at these values here from 1 to 5 and then 5 to 6. So between 5 and 6, the difference there is 1. So that value of 1, we are going to divide it by 2. So if I divide 1 by 2, 1 over 2, it will give us 0.5. So we are going to use this 0.5 to compute the class boundary. So what we're going to do with the 0.5 is that we subtract 0.5 from the lower class score here, and then we also add 0.5 to the upper class mark here, or the class score here. So 1 minus 0.5 is going to give us 0.5. And then 5 plus 0.5 is going to give us 5.5. So this is the class boundary for this score range. Now, similarly here, we're going to say 6 minus 0.5, and that will give us 5.5, which is like this value here. And then 10 plus 0.5 is going to give us 10.5. So we can continue like that. So this becomes 10.5 to 15.5. This becomes 15.5 to 20.5. This becomes 20.5 to 25.5. And this one becomes 25.5 to 30.5. So this is how to compute the class boundary. Now, the next thing we have to compute is the cumulative frequency. The cumulative frequency is obtained from the frequency of the table. So the first value, which is 5, is going to also be the first cumulative frequency. And then the next thing to do is to add these two together and write the value here. So you simply add these two. 5 plus 6 is going to be 11. In the same way, you add 11 and this 10 and you write it here. So 11 plus 10 will give us 21. That is how you continue to get the cumulative frequency. So 21 plus 17 will give us 38. And then again, 38 plus 7 will give us 45. And then finally, 45 plus 5 will give us 50. So this is the cumulative frequency, which is the total frequency. So if I sum this frequency here now, summation F. So let me write F as the frequency here. So the summation of the frequency is equal to this last value of the cumulative frequency, which is 50. That also means if I add all these frequency values, I'm going to get 50. That is what it means. So the summation of the frequency is 50, which is the addition of all these values. Or simply, you just take the last value of the cumulative frequency and that gives you the summation of the frequency 50. Now, let's get to the class mark here. Now, the class mark is obtained. We can obtain it from this, or we can simply obtain it from this. The class mark is obtained by adding the first value here and the last value here, which is the lower class range here and the upper class range. We simply add them together and then we divide by 2, and that gives us the class mark for each of them. So 1 plus 5 is 6, and then 6 divided by 2 is going to give us 3. 6 plus 10 is 16. 16 divided by 2 will give us 8. So that is how to compute the class mark, or the class center. You can also call it class center. So 11 plus 15 is 26. And 26 divided by 2 will give us 13. And this will be 36 divided by 2 to give us 18. And this will be 46 divided by 2 to give us 23. And then this is 56 divided by 2, and that will give us 28. So that is how to obtain the class mark. And then for us to obtain the mean, so now we have completed the table, but for us to obtain the mean, there is one part of this table that we need to complete. And that will be to obtain the value of the frequency multiplied by the class mark. The class mark here, I can call it X. So the frequency F multiplied by the class mark X, and that will give us this last column, which we need to compute the mean of the data. Now, 3 multiplied by 5, and that will give us 15. Don't forget we're multiplying the frequency and the mark. So 3 multiplied by 5 is 15. The next one, 6 multiplied by 8, and that will give us 48. And then we have 10 multiplied by 13 will give us 130. The next one is 17 multiplied by 18, and that will give us 306. You can use your calculator to compute the values. Then 7 multiplied by 23 will give us 161. And then finally 5 multiplied by 28, and that will give us 140. Then now we need to sum this column. So I'm going to say summation f of x. So that is the sum of the, this column is f of x, frequency multiplied by the class mark. So the summation of everything now is given as summation f of x. And if we add all this with our calculator, it is going to give us 800. So the summation is 800. Now, for us to compute the mean of these scores, what we just need to do is to say mean, which can be represented as this X that has bar like this. So this can be represented as the symbol for mean, and that will be equal to the summation of f of x all divided by the summation of the frequency. So the summation of the frequency we have obtained already. The summation of f of x we have obtained as 800, and then divided by the summation of the frequency that we obtained as 50. So 800 divided by 50 will simply give us 16. And that is the mean of the data. Hope you enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to subscribe to this channel so that you can get more detailed videos like this. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.